Tuesday. I hope that already in this month of February, you are doing lots of celebrating. I know in the boot camp yesterday, we just started our next 90-day sprint challenge last year. It was just such a blessing. God just really laid on my heart to create this amazing competition within our boot camp. So we had 6 teams of 20 docs, and then I had asked 6 different boot campers to be coaches of each team, and we all just like start driving hard and having a blast, and we do kind of like trash talk each other. And it was a huge blessing because those offices had so much momentum going into COVID and had like some of their biggest years. A boot camper shared with me a couple weeks ago, she increased her income by $250,000 last year. In Illinois, shut down state despite the pandemic, because there are people who want to be well. So for those of you who maybe last year wasn't all that you wanted it to be, I want to tell you, your community still wants you. So get back at it. Be consistent in your messaging. Let them know you want to serve them and take care of them. And that's this guy right here, Neil Cohen. Talk about a huge heart. Neil, thank you so much for joining me today.
Barbara, thank you again for having me on. I always enjoy our conversations.
Me too. And for those of you who can't see this right behind me, I'm coming to Sherman February 26th and 27th for our second pediatric boot camp. This year, we've also added pregnancy, infertility, and pelvic floor. Sherman grad Chelsea Rainey is going to be speaking about infertility. And so I invite all of you to join me. If you're in Brian Dooley's class on the 25th, I'll be speaking to a couple of those classes. And then we have some other events planned. If you want to know more about those, please do reach out. I am going to pop the link. You can join us virtually on campus. There are only a few tickets left because we are in the Gilardi Center, and we have a maximum of 85 people that we can have in there this year. Or you can join us virtually. We are doing, Jillian and Katie have been working really hard with us to do a hybrid event where it's going to be live, virtual, and live. So grab your ticket and join us. We are making it that you can tap into the replay for 60 days after the event so that you can keep learning, or that your team can join you and keep learning. So go to that link, grab your ticket, and if you're live, get ready for a non-approved COVID hug, because I'm coming with a lot of them from Alaska.
Yes.
So Neil, let's talk about purpose. What are your 3 best ways to stay on purpose when life around us can feel like such chaos?
Well, my anchor is always 2 of the greatest things that we've ever been given. One is my God, my Lord, my Savior. To me, that is the most important relationship. It's the most important understanding that I can have. And the second thing is chiropractic philosophy. We need to know what it is we believe, why we believe it. We have to understand, first of all, we can't even take God out of that picture. There's no picture we can remove God from. But if we understand our philosophy, you see, to me, chiropractic philosophy is not just about chiropractic. It really transcends chiropractic, because it's a way to think. It's a way to think, not just outside the box, but a way to think more truthfully. So if we can take our philosophy and move it into other aspects of our life. And it really comes down to doing the right thing, really doing the right thing. Innate intelligence is always doing the right thing. God is always doing the right thing. So by extension, we need to do the right thing, whether it's making a excellent scientific specific chiropractic adjustment, or being the best father we can be, being the best husband we can be, being the best business owner we can be. We really need to take responsibility within our life for all the things that we will eventually give a response for. And not only that, but we've been given things to steward, and we want to make sure that those decisions, each decision that we make, is an excellent decision. So we have this philosophy that gives us an opportunity to do that. It gives us clarity. It gives us purpose. And the third thing that I'll talk about, Barbara, too, is something that you said in my office I want to say it was about 5 years ago. I think we met for the first time, and I've never forgotten it. You said the greatest gift you can give yourself is to know yourself. And I've taken that with me. I remember where you were sitting in my office. I remember you saying it to me, and it just hit me. This is gold. And I have made it my life's journey to know myself, but now I want to know myself even more. So I want to know, what are my core values? And I think people need to know what their core values are, because oftentimes we follow people with a different set of core values than we actually have. And we try to be like them. And it really becomes very inauthentic for us to try and own core values that are not ours, just because there's somebody else's. So we see somebody who's successful and they believe a certain way and we want to be just like them, but we're not just like them. So who are we? And that has been just a wonderful anchor that you've been able to give me regarding purpose.
Thanks. I'll have to credit my dad with that. That has been his mantra since I was a young girl. Like, make sure you know yourself. And, I think that being taught that at a young age also gave me the license that I don't live for anyone else. Like something I'm going to be talking about Friday and Saturday. Like, one is mom guilt, mom and dad guilt. And where is that from? And the understanding that thinking creates our reality, right? Thinking creates our reality. So if my thoughts are, no one wants to get adjusted, no one wants chiropractic care, then my radar is up in order to confirm that, right? So whether you're right or wrong, you're going to see evidence of what that is. If instead, like, I believe everyone on the planet wants to get to know me. It's just a philosophy that I've had my whole life. And it's also why I rarely meet a stranger. Like, instantly there's rapport and connection. And I think it has a lot to do with that foundation that my parents gave me, is like, know yourself. And in so doing, you cannot control anyone else's thinking. So often, probably just like you, I've heard people say, well, I don't want people to think I'm greedy. I don't want people to think, like that. I just want them to come in for the money. I just don't want people to think da, 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 da. Well, I want to tell all of you, you don't get to do their thinking. They do their own thinking. So you know yourself and live your life. And I think oftentimes there's this idea that if you live your own life, that's kind of like, flipping somebody off. And it's absolutely the exact opposite of that. Like, when you understand that everyone is really, like, we're not living our reality, we're living our thinking, right? Because if we're living our reality, then we all have the same response, and we don't. Just like, look how different chiropractic practices are. So the truth is that we're living our thinking, and that thinking comes from our thoughts, and that thought comes from mind, because thoughts are mind's energy. And so I'm really excited to share new ways of looking at our thinking, and even new ways to look at innate intelligence. We all trust innate intelligence to heal the body. And I want to tell all of you that innate intelligence is also the knowing in your mind, and it is your operating system. And there's so many ways that we can tap into it for our success and our happiness that I'm pretty confident most don't know. So you're going to want to join me at the PEDS boot camp. So Neil, let me ask you this. When you're faced with adversity, which, being a leader, that's going to come, right? How do you anchor in and stay in love and stay on purpose when there's it seems like there's a fight nonstop?
So the first thing is that you can't just react when adversity comes up and it comes into your sphere. Reaction is usually not the best situation. What you need to do is you need to always have a strategy. And the strategy always has to be in alignment with what you want your outcomes to be. Whether it's college growth, or whether it's the profession being seen in the light that it deserves. And so sometimes when we react, we show a side of ourselves that can be criticized in a way that will come back to bite us. And so what we want to do is we want to pump the brakes a little bit. Like, what does this all mean? Why are we being attacked in this way? And, I look at it from the situation, for instance, we're all going through this whole situation with the pandemic, and there's people, they wear masks, they don't wear masks, they do these things. And it's like, I've come to the understanding that, this isn't our fight. People are scared. That's why they do what they do. And, you kind of mentioned it before. They're going to think what they're going to think, but I can think what I'm going to think as well. And, I want to be able to set my example, and maybe it will open up a conversation, or maybe it won't. Right now we're in a situation where people aren't really thinking. I really believe we're living in an anti-intellectual age. And I think that's why chiropractic isn't understood by more people, because people aren't really thinking about being proactive with their health. They're always thinking about being reactive. They've been trained to be reactive. And so what we have to do is we can't just react. We have to think, well, what are we doing? Does this make sense? And should I do what I believe that I should do? And then, you're not always going to be right. You may be wrong. My flesh wants to react to certain things. They really do. I'm a communicator. I like to, open things up and get resolution. But sometimes the best answer is no answer at all. You just let it be.
Oh my gosh, I love that. It's in my coaching, I often say, like, make sure you're not thinking you have to answer a statement. Like, for instance, if someone says, "Oh, it's expensive," it's a statement. Like, they can think whatever they want. And I want to invite all of you to adopt a philosophy that I adopted last year. And that's in understanding mind, thought, and consciousness, that it doesn't take two. It doesn't take two to have an amazing relationship, because you are causing the matter. So in every relationship that you're in, you are causing the matter, and you get to say how amazing that is. And because our thinking creates reality, then you can have thoughts that are in alignment with the relationship you want to have. Like the other day, Ben's my husband, for those of you who don't know, we were in a discussion, and it was getting maybe a little bit heated. And I was like, wait, it doesn't take two. And thinking creates my reality. So as he's talking, I'm just like daydreaming about how amazing this man is, because that's the reality that I want to have. Like, that's the marriage that I want to have. And so like my frustration just turned to a big, huge smile. And he didn't ask, because like, well, it's way better to be with a woman who's happy than one who's frustrated, right? So when you do face adversity, I just want to encourage all of you that thinking creates your reality. And so take ownership of your thoughts and make them in, like, you are in control of them in the direction of the reality that you want to lead. Because again, we don't live in reality, we live in our thinking. And it's so powerful to remember, it doesn't take two, it just takes you.
And that's beautiful. And what I would want everyone to know, especially people that are in practice, but it's really everyone, you're all leaders, and leaders will always face adversity. And you have to realize that that's just part of the position. And if you've made yourself a leader within your community, or you don't believe you're a leader in your community, you need to start believing that. Because one of the things that's going to happen is when you start believing that, things will happen to you. It's not really what happens to you, it's how you react to what happens to you. Because the things that happen to you are designed to help you grow. They're character building opportunities. And we have to understand, it's really not about us and what our self-esteem is. We have to realize we are valuable. We're valuable because we were created. That's where our value is. If we were not created, God would not have seen value in us, but he sees value in us. You have to see the value that God sees in you. And so when people are throwing slings and arrows at you, when they're attacking you, it's not really for you to go introspective. It's for you to say, you know what, this is an opportunity. How am I going to respond to that?
And life doesn't, it's not out to get us, right? Like, it's not that things, like the whole, like, I don't like my circumstances. Well, those can change immediately based on your thinking. And I understand, like, it's easier said than done. Like, oh, that's easy for you, Barb. Well, you've been given the same access that I have been given, and that's your mind, that's your thinking. So it can be the same flow for you as well. And I think that's the beauty of mind, thought, and consciousness, and that's the beauty of the life that God has invited us to dance in and explore. And I think for the most part too, if we remember, everyone's doing the best that they can based on the thinking that they think is real. I mean, that's and then what an awesome opportunity to come alongside them and perhaps point to something different for them to consider. Like, have you considered that maybe life doesn't have to be difficult? Like, what's available to you if it wasn't difficult? That's the exciting part.
And getting back to purpose, who are you surrounding yourself with? Because if you're thinking, negative thoughts, your tendency is to want to surround yourself with people that agree with you. And so the key is to think in a better way and surround yourself with people that are going to build you up. God is a God of encouragement. He's never a God of discouragement. Discouragement does not come from God. So we want to always be around people that are encouraging us. And the really cool part is we don't know what everybody's been through that got them to the point that they're in now. People might say, hey, Barb, it's easy for you, but we don't know what you went through to get to where it looks that easy. And, you did the work, and you have to be able to do the work. And that's really important. And I would encourage everybody to do the work, to understand that you are incredible, that you can make things happen. But it does start in the mind, because if you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, you probably can't.
Love it. Hey, thanks everyone for joining us. Dr. Neal, thank you so much. Give Randy a big hug for me. I miss both of you. I'll be sad I won't see you, but I'll be back on campus another time this year. To all of you, if you are in South Carolina or close by, please do come February 26th and 27th for our Peds Infertility, Pelvic Floor, and Pregnancy Boot Camp. A shout out to Jillian and her team for just all of the work that they always do for us. So I really love and appreciate you. And all of you, God bless you. Have a fabulous day.
And send your students to Sherman College. Give them a look and see how great our campus is, please.
Yes. And a shout out to Dr. Neal. I connect him with people all the time. And he's so gracious and loving and helpful. So thank you. I really appreciate that.
God bless you.
See ya. Bye.